Hi, welcome to the Peaceful Home. Today I'm going to answer a viewer question as part of our bedtime series, what to do when your child keeps coming into your bed in the middle of the night. If we haven't met, I'm TeresaElling, and I'm so glad that you've stopped by today. I'm a professional organizer, a parenting coach, a wife and homeschool mom to 6 graduated kids, and we talk about all things home and family on this channel. I would love it if you would consider subscribing if you're interested in this content. And if you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps the channel so much. This is a comment on my video, how to transition from co-sleeping, how to help your child fall asleep on their own using the magic phrase. This comment comes from Kyra, and she writes, we have been doing this and the laying down video with our kids for a week, and it has been great. My next question is, my 4-year-old is waking up about 2 a.m. and coming into our room to sleep. Most times I don't even hear him come in. Is it okay to just let him finish out his sleep in our room? Or any advice on how to keep him in his room? This is such a great question. So I chatted briefly with Kyra and asked her if I could use it for a video. I know that a lot of parents struggle with this issue. Her question, is it okay to allow him to continue coming into our bed in the middle of the night? Absolutely. Especially if you're not waking up. That's really the best case scenario. If everyone is getting good sleep, that's the most important thing. Now, this is a 4-year-old, and around 4 or 5 and on up, it gets easier as they get older to implement new things, to train. There's just so much more understanding, and you're not just doing rote training, there's so much more that they can understand. And so it does become easier. It's important to remember that these early childhood years are so crucial in development for our children's emotional health, for their security. It's much easier to retrain a 4-year-old to sleep in their own bed than it is to teach a child to feel secure and safe. It doesn't mean you can't change things later on, but it is harder. And I can tell you that with one of my children, we had been doing co-sleeping, attachment parenting, and we just received some advice, that our child was manipulating us, and we really needed to get on it before she completely ruined our lives. And at that point, we put her in her own crib, in her own room, and began doing the cry it out method. And after a period of time of doing that, and we were able to get her to sleep fairly successfully, but we started to notice some other behavioral issues, and we really felt a conviction that that was not right, and that we actually had caused some insecurity issues with our daughter. And so we did a complete reversal. And even though she was a little bit older, we welcomed her back into our room. And we already had another sibling in bed with us, but she would lay on the floor next to our bed. And she did that for a while until she felt so safe and secure that she had no problem sleeping in her own bed in her own room. So if you do feel like you've gotten off on the wrong foot and maybe caused some insecurity, you can always reestablish things. Just kind of go back and start over, and it usually doesn't take too long. Now, I can tell you that one of my earliest memories was going upstairs to my parents' room, and my mom kept a sleeping bag under her bed, and I didn't have to wake her. I knew I could just pull it out, go to sleep right next to her. That was such a secure feeling. Thanks, by the way, Mom. I appreciate it very much. And that really laid a groundwork for feeling safe and secure. And I have always remembered that. And so that's something that you could do. If you're struggling with maybe having an older child sleep with you, and they're getting too big and you're not getting a good night's sleep, you could try letting them sleep next to you on the floor in a sleeping bag, on a little sleeping pad or a cot, something like that. Now, if you've transitioned them to their own room, maybe using the magic phrase, or maybe you've just easily gotten them to go to sleep in their own bed, this is something that you can do when they're waking in the middle of the night and coming into your room. Now, if you're wanting to put a stop to that completely, the first thing I suggest you do is, again, this is key with any kind of training, talk about it outside of the actual event. So you're not going to discuss this in the middle of the night. You're going to talk about it during the day, at lunchtime. You're going to talk about it in the car. You're going to talk about it at bedtime. And then in the middle of the night, when they get up and come into your room, you're just going to gently hold their hand, walk them back into their room, tuck them in, and leave. Without talking, without turning on lights, without giving a lot of attention to it, just simply putting them back in their bed. Now, if we're talking about a 4-year-old, they're probably going to learn very quickly that they need to stay in their own bed. And after a few nights of that, they probably aren't going to continue to get up. The important thing here is to be consistent. Don't tell them, you're not going to come into mom and dad's room anymore. We're going to take you back to your bed, if you're going to give up after 3 times and let them come into your room. So if you're going to say that this is the way it's going to be, you've got to be consistent. It might take many times the first night or the first couple of nights, but if you stick with it, they will learn that they need to stay in their own beds. But at that age, you can start a reward system for establishing a good habit. And you can tell them that, hey, we're going to put a star on the chart for every night that you don't come in and get in mom's bed. When you stay all night in your big boy bed, you're going to get a sticker. And after we've had 5 stickers, we're going to have a special play date with mom or with dad or whatever it is. It's not something you need to do long term. Again, just do it for a week or 2. This type of thing is for establishing a habit, really getting them in the routine of something new. And once they've got it, then you remove the reward, but you continue to praise, you continue to talk them up and tell them how proud you are of them for being able to learn this new skill. Once you finish the reward system, the next step that you can take to really boost their self-esteem, tell them that you're proud of them, is to offer another type of reward. And that is what I would say, for being faithful in little things, you're given more. So maybe tell your child, you know what? You're 5 years old now. You've been sleeping in your own bed and staying in your bed all night for the past 2 weeks. We are so proud of you. And because you are getting to be such a big boy, such a big girl, we're going to let you stay up 10 minutes later now. And then you implement this the next night at bedtime. Now, honestly, it could be the same time. Your child isn't really going to know, but you're going to use this and call attention to it so that your child's aware. So you might say, you know what, Billy? It would normally be bedtime right now, but we've talked about how great you've been doing at sleeping in your own bed. So I'm going to set a timer and you get 10 extra minutes to play. This usually just calls attention to their maturity and that they're growing up, and it really works great. And it really also improves the bond that you have with your child. They feel proud of what they've done. They're so excited that you've noticed and you've decided that they get a little bit of extra playtime, they get to stay up a little later, whatever. It works really well. Kyra, thank you again for your comment and your question. I hope this is helpful. I would love an update on how this is working with your kids. For everyone else, I would love it if you would comment below if you have any questions or if you've had successes. If you've had a child that keeps getting up in the middle of the night, what have you done? What's worked for you? It would be great to hear from you. Thanks so much for joining me today on The Peaceful Home. Have a great day.